Okay, good morning to everybody. Those who are watching this video of our class this week, the 14th of January. I want to thank everybody who watches the videos who can't join us on Wednesday. And I want to thank you very much for your comments, your questions, your insights. I get some very, very interesting comments and some very, very interesting WhatsApps, whole discussions by some people. And I appreciate that very much. I hope that all of y'all who are watching are healthy, are keeping warm, and are safe. So we want to just remind all of y'all that on January 26th, on Monday, there is a paid up membership, Hadassah brunch, and the space is filling up fast. So if you are a lifetime member, or if you have paid your membership dues this year, so make sure you make that phone call to RSVP to Eileen Goldstein and check your emails for the phone number and the information. Okay, so we're going to today to review a little bit of that way what we learned last week about David and the very interesting situation from his fleeing from Shaul. Now, what we learned last week was in many ways very distressing. The chapter that we read, chapter 22, talks about the departure of David from his meeting with Yonatan after Yonatan spoke with his father, Shaul, and Shaul says to his servants and to Yonatan, his son, I want David dead. He says, kill him, he says to his servants. And now Shaul has started an irrational, horrible uh, chase for finding David because Shaul is incapable right now of seeing that his responsibility is totally to the people of Israel and not to hunting down his biggest advocate, which is who is David. And David has done absolutely nothing, but Shaul is so paranoid that he thinks that he is going to take over the kingship, which he is correct in assuming that, but
Right.
he is so mentally incapable of understanding the reality of the situation that this has put Israel, the country of the nation, in a terrible, terrible situation because the king is appointed to protect the people. They do not need Shaul to protect them against David. David is the person who's protecting
Here.
everyone
Oh,
in the nation.
Rhonda, all
The
of a
Yes.
sudden
sound
you can't
going
hear
in and
me
out.
sometime.
What?
Yeah, twice we lost you totally, the voice.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Um, it must be something in my in the Zoom because I have a new microphone here, so I don't know.
You just lost you again.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, just raise your hand when if it
Mhm,
happens again, and I'll
mhm,
try and repeat what I've said.
mhm.
So what's happening now is the chase has begun. David flees from the center of the country. He goes and runs down to Nov, and he goes and hides down in Adullam, which is in the south. And he then goes to Nov. what has happened is he has created and amassed a group of men who are supportive of him, but they are like bandits. They are kind of like people who owe money, people debtors. They are people who are not in good stead with the government. They are people who are against Shaul. And it's like Robin Hood and his band of merry men. It's kind of a ragtag kind of group that David has amassed. It's about 400, and he needs food and he needs weapons because he needs to protect himself. And you'll find during the conversation of these chapters that he's also protecting Eretz Yisrael from the Plishtim, the Philistines. He has not stopped doing that. So he is doing the job of the king. The king should be protecting the people, but he's not. The king is running after David in order to kill him. So he goes to Nov, where the priests have set up the Mishkan. This is after Shiloh. Shiloh has been destroyed. Shiloh, the Mishkan in Shiloh is no longer. Eli, the last Kohen Gadol, was um, uh, was issued a prophecy, and it said in the prophecy that none of your children will live to an old age. So David goes to Nov and he knocks on the door of the Achimelech, the
Right.
Kohen, and he says, Achinoam says, Achimelech says, um, okay, how can I help you? And David says, I need food. I need food. And the Kohen says, well, the only food that I have is the showbreads, the lechem panim. And David says, "Well, can you give that to me? I need food." And he gives it to him. Then David says, "I also need weapons. If you have anything to give me for weapons." Now, by David going and asking Achimelech to provide him with food and weapons, puts puts the Kohen in a very, very difficult position, because by doing this, he is betraying the king, because David is
Right.
considered a fugitive. So David understands that he has put this Kohen in a difficult position, but nevertheless, he feels as though who else can he turn to if not the leader, the religious leader of the nation? So Shaul hears about this, and during the time of David's fleeing with his men, and he says, "What happened?" He asks the question, "What happened?" And who saw this, and who is responsible? Well, David had given Ahimelech a kind of a false story by saying that he was on a mission for Shaul, and he tells, you know, Ahimelech says, "Well, he came in the name of you to get." He said he couldn't tell me what kind of a mission he was on. So Shaul is furious, and he says to his servants to kill all the priests of Nov,
Right. They will do it.
including the women and the animals. Now, there is no one in the service of Shaul who will kill the Kohanim.
Right.
They refuse. So he says, is there nobody here who's going to do what I ask? And the truth of the matter is there was one person, and
Doeg.
he was Doeg the Edomite. Now, Doeg the Edomite, as his name, and he keeps being referred to as the Edomite. Why? Because the Edomites were from
Esau.
Esav. Esav was not uh, a good guy in terms of the people that he generated in generations to come. And from the Edomites came the Amalekites. Now, when Shaul says, I want the Kohanim, all the priests to be killed, including the women, children, and animals, and he lists all the animals, what does that sound like? Where does this come from that it sounds so familiar?
It's with Haman
No,
and
no, no, it's
no,
not
the
hum.
king.
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet, not yet. It was supposed to.
Shmuel comes to Shaul when he was first appointed to as king, and he says, Hashem wants you to kill all the Amalekites, including the king, the women, the children, the men, and all of the animals. They were evil. They were absolutely evil. And what happens? Shaul does not do this. So, how ironic now is Shaul is issuing an order that the people should be killed, slaughtered, and all the animals, and nobody will do it in his service, except, as we find out, that Doeg the Edomite, who is from Edom and is connected to the Amalekites. He understands what killing means. He understands what evil is, and he steps up and says he will do it. So in this chapter we learn how ironic that what Shaul wouldn't do to the Amalekites would do to the Israelites. And what we also learn, there's a lot of stuff that is written about Doeg and uh, perhaps that he was a convert and that he was a Torah scholar and he was this, he was that. It's all midrash. There is no text except the first line that says Doeg the Edomite was the head of the herdsmen of Shaul. He was in charge of all of the herds, all the flocks. He was in the service of the king, and he was willing to do whatever evil the king wanted him to do. That's all it says about him. So whenever you hear other stuff about Doeg, you have to be very careful because it is not textual. It's midrash. And you know how I feel about midrash, that we really um, shouldn't we shouldn't really learn it when we're beginning learners, because it confuses the story and it confuses the real truth about who people are, what they do, how they do it. So I'm very, very leery to add that, because people take midrash as text, as Tanakh text. Okay, having said that, uh, the after the slaughter of all the Kohanim, there is only one survivor, and the survivor is Aviatar. Aviatar is taken in by David, And David says, "You stay with me and I will protect you. You will be with me." So he is the only Kohen from the line of Eli that survives. Now, the thing is that if you recall, and I'm going to try and put this up on the screen. If you recall, we learned that um, that a messenger, a man of God, comes to Eli when he was in Shiloh, and he says the following. Can you see? Let's see, right here. Can you? Let's. Can you see this right here?
Mhm.
Can
Yes.
Okay, can I have someone read it? Xenia?
But yeah, I can do it. Behold, the days come that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, that there shall not be an old man in your house, and there shall not be an old man in your house forever.
Okay, so that was in Shmuel, what is it, 2,
Two.
chapter 2. This was the man of God, which people say might have been Shmuel's father, comes to Eli and tells him because of the terrible things that his sons had done, Hophni and Pinchas, that this is his Eli's legacy's punishment, that they will not be anybody of old age in your household. Now, some people say that by killing all of the Kohanim, who many of whom were from the house of Eli, is a fulfillment of this prophecy. But just because it's a fulfillment of a prophecy doesn't mean that you have to do that prophecy by slaughtering people. And so, consequently, what Doeg did was just beyond. Um, we then find out that there are wars being started by the Plishtim, and the Plishtim are taking advantage of knowing that Shaul is on the run chasing after David. Listen, they're living right in the backyard of Israel, the nation of Israel, and so they consequently know everything that's happening in the country. It's a small country, and they certainly keep tabs on what's happening throughout the country in order to take better advantage of attacking when the country of Israel is weak. And when they find out that the king is preoccupied with chasing David, they certainly have an opportunity to attack Israel. Now, what David does is that he runs to the city of Gat. We learned that last week. And what does he do? The people hear that David, the man who has killed Goliath, has is in their city, and he's now clawing at the gates of the city, and he's acting in an irrational way. And they say that he's nuts. He's mentally ill, and he's a lunatic. And the king of Gat says to his servants, "What is this that I hear about David?" He said, they said, "Don't I have enough lunatics in my country that I need one more?" So this is so ironic because he feels like if David has become nuts, then he certainly isn't going to do any harm to him. So he just leaves him be, and David stays safe in the enemy's backyard. Now let's go to chapter 23 and read what let's read what happens. Let's see. Let's read the last few yeah. Okay. So, let's just pick out, okay, over here. Let's start here. Would someone read for us, please? This is chapter 21, 22.
22.
So let's start with 18. Go ahead. Somebody? Xenia?
Okay. And the king said to Doeg, oh, wait, you said it started with which one? I'm sorry, 18.
18.
And the king said to Doeg, you turn and fall upon the priests. And Doeg turned, and he fell upon the priests and slew on that day 85 men, wearers of the linen ephod. And Nob, the city of priests, he smote with the sharp edge of the sword, both man and woman, infant and suckling, an ox and ass and lamb, with the sharp edge of the sword. And one son of Avimelech, the son of Ahitub, whose name was Aviatar, escaped and fled after David. And Aviatar told David that Shaul had slain the priests of the Lord. And David said to Aviatar, I knew on that day that Doeg the Edomite was there, and that he would tell Shaul, I brought about the death of every person of your father's household. Stay with me, fear not, for he who seeks my soul seeks your soul, for you shall be in safeguard with me.
Okay. So now he has a relationship with Aviatar and as a protector. All right, let's see what's going to happen here. Let's continue.
Okay. Do you want me to continue?
Sure.
Okay. And they told David, saying, behold, the Philistines are waging war against Keilah, and they are pillaging the threshing floors. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go and smite these Philistines? And the Lord said to David, go, and you shall smite the Philistines and save Keilah. And David's men said to him, behold, we are afraid here in Judah. How much more if we go to Keilah, to the battle array of the Philistines? And David continued further to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord answered him and said, arise, go down to Keilah, for I am giving the Philistines into your hand.
Okay, so what happens is there's the Plishtim are starting these little wars. Does it sound familiar to you? These they come in from Gaza and they start these wars, then they run back. They're always in our face and always causing havoc. And the nation of Israel at this point, because Shaul is not a strong king, is subject to these small skirmishes, which are very dangerous to the people of Israel. So, what is it that David is asking here? First of all, before he goes into battle and he has this group of men, he's not going to just rush into a battle. So he asks God, should he go down there? Should he make this a something that he gets involved in? Don't forget, he's still the head of the army for Shaul. So Shaul is chasing the head of the army and not taking care of what he needs to be taken care of. So David, understanding that he has an obligation to the nation of Israel and to God, he asked God, should I go down there? And God says, yes, go, and you'll save the people of this town, the city of Keilah. And then the people who are with him, his little band of merry men, say to him, wait a minute, we know that Shaul is after you. If we go with you down to Keilah and save those people, aren't we going to be in danger? Aren't you going to be in danger, David? So they ask him a very legitimate question. It's not that they weren't going to fight with him, they certainly were, whatever his decision was, but they wanted to make sure that they would not be caught by Shaul and punished as treasonous people who were fighting against the king. So David again asked God, is it something that I should be going down? Are we going to succeed in the battle of Keilah? So God tells him, yes, I will put the people, you in a successful situation, and you will be victorious. So he goes down to fight for the people of Israel. Now, let's take a look, because we are on the run, and we'll come back to the text here, but I want to show you a map. My favorite things is a map. Hold on a minute. Okay. Now the map is going to show us all the different places that David runs to. First of all, we see where's Nov? It's
up north, further north.
right here. Where is it?
Further than that, further near Jerusalem, Jebus to the.
Okay, here we go. Here's
Yeah.
Nov. And he runs from Nov, he goes down to Adullam, the cave of Adullam, and then he goes to Gat, which is the Philistine city. See, this is all of the Philistine territory. This Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gaza, Gat, and Ekron. Those are the cities of the Plishtim, and they are always coming into the country for all of these skirmishes and battles against the Bnei Yisrael. Now, he's going to run to Keilah right here. He's going to eventually, and we're going to read about it, go down to the wilderness of Ziph, the people of the Ziphites, and he's going to run, let's see, down here. This says, what does this say right here? Ziph, is this the Ziphs right here?
Yeah.
Okay. He's also going to go down to Moab. Why is he going down to Moab? Well, he has his elderly parents who he is afraid for their lives, and he asked the king of Moab if the king would protect his parents while he's fighting against the Philistines, and running away from Shaul. Now, why would David go to Moab? Does anybody have any idea?
Where it came from.
What? Go ahead. Who said?
I said that's where his parents came from.
Well,
Or his
that's where his great grandmother Ruth came from.
All right. the Moabite.
Remember, his great grandmother was Ruth. She married Boaz. Boaz she had a child, Obed. Obed had Yishai. Yishai had David.
Right.
It's his great grandmother. So he's going back to his roots, hoping that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So he goes back to Moab. He asks the king, and the king says yes. And this is the last time we hear about his parents, of Yishai and his mother. So he has gone back, put his parents in Moab. They're safe for the time being against Shaul because he feels that Shaul would kill his parents in order to get to David. That's how bad the situation was. So now you see that he's all this area right here. This is where the running takes place. And this is for the country, a waste of the king's time.
Right.
It is a big waste of time that the king is chasing after David from one place to another. And Shaul doesn't go just by himself. He's schlepping along an army. So this is a huge taxing situation on the country. Okay. So now that you've seen all the different places that they're running to, and eventually he runs to En-Gedi. And years ago, many of us went down to En-Gedi and
Right.
saw the places that David ran to. So, okay. Now, let's go back to the text. Okay. All right. Okay. Can we continue reading?
Rhonda,
Start.
do you want me to continue or somebody else?
Sure, go ahead.
And David continued further to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord answered him and said, Arise, go down to Keilah, for I am giving the Philistines into your hand.
Right.
And David and his men went to Keilah and battled the Philistines, and he led away their cattle and struck them a great blow. And David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it was that when Abiatar, the son of Avimelech, fled to David to Keilah, the ephod came down in his hand.
All right, now this is something interesting because Aviatar is a Kohen, and the ephod was the breastplate that the Kohanim had to when they asked Hashem questions. So he now has that in his possession. Okay, so let's go ahead,
Okay.
continue.
And it was related to Shaul that David had come to Keilah. And Shaul said, God has delivered him into my hands, for he has been shut in by coming into a city with doors and bars. And
Okay,
Shaul, oh, go ahead.
so
Yeah.
Shaul thinks that by coming to fight the Plishtim,
Yeah, he's
he's
gonna
come
get killed.
he's come to get trapped by Shaul. So for David, this is a two front war. It's both Shaul and
Philistines.
the Philistines.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Shaul summoned all the people to war to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. And
Interesting, it doesn't say to besiege the Plishtim.
Interesting.
You see, it says that to besiege David. This is how
Well, he's so consumed with him.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And David knew that upon him Shaul was plotting the evil. And he said to Abiatar the priest, Bring near the ephod. And David said, O Lord God of Israel, your bondsman has heard that Shaul seeks to come to Keilah to destroy the city because of me. Will the citizens of Keilah deliver me into his hand? Will Shaul come down as your bondsman has heard? O Lord God of Israel, tell now your bondsman. And the Lord said, He will come down.
Okay.
And David said, Will the citizens of Keilah deliver me and my men into Shaul's hand? And the Lord said, They will deliver. And David and his men, about 600 men, arose and left Keilah, and they went wherever they would go. And it was told to Shaul that David had escaped from Keilah, and he refrained from going forth.
Okay, so here we have David asking Hashem twice
Mhm.
the same questions. He's very fearful for his life. He's
Mhm.
very concerned for his men. And
Mhm.
so he does the job in Keilah, he saves the people, and he escapes and leaves. He doesn't hang
Mhm.
around, doesn't deal with the spoils,
Mhm.
that he's basking in the success of the mission.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's find
And,
out what's going on now.
and David dwelt in the desert in the strongholds, and he dwelt in the mountains at the desert of Ziph. And Shaul sought him all the days, but God did not deliver him into his hand. And David saw that Shaul had gone forth to seek his soul, and David was in the desert of Ziph in the forest. And Jonathan, Shaul's son, arose and went to David to the forest, and he strengthened his hand through God. And he said to him, Fear not, for the hand of my father Shaul will not find you, and you shall reign over Israel. And may I be to you as a viceroy. And my father Shaul too knows that this is so. And the two of them made a covenant before the Lord, and David stayed in the forest, and Jonathan went to his home. And the Ziphites went up to Shaul to Gibeah, saying, Is David not hiding for us in the strongholds, in the forests, and the hills of Hachilah, which is from the south of the desolate wasteland? And now, according to all the desires of your heart, to come down, and it is incumbent upon us to deliver him into the king's hand.
Okay, so let me just make a
Mhm.
comment about what happened with Yonatan in the forest of Ziph with David. This is the last covenant that the two of them make, and what's interesting about this is that um, Yonatan now knows that there's no question about where his father stands
Mhm.
on the relationship between Yonatan and David, and that he's going to kill David. He wants
Mhm.
David to understand that he hopes and prays that he can be a member of David's um, uh, what his a member of
It's viceroys.
uh, his supporters when he becomes king, and he says to David, "Look, I will be a viceroy for you. I will do whatever you want when the time comes." But he said, "I have to go home now."
Mhm.
What does that mean? It means that although Yonatan loves David
Mhm.
and knows that David will be king, and that's okay with him. It's all right with Yonatan because he understands the situation with his father. He is still remaining loyal to his father, and he goes home to where his father is. So, this is going to be the last time, the last covenant, the last time that David and Yonatan meet together before before the end. Okay, he Yonatan has made up his mind how he wants this to play out. He hopes and prays that David will be kind enough that when he becomes king, that there will be a place for Yonatan and his family in the service of King David, but for the time being, he needs to be supportive of his father. This is a very interesting thing, and we wonder, we understand that
I'm amazed that he wasn't afraid to go home to his father because his father was crazy and he might have turned on his own child.
he might have, he could have done anything. But what we do learn is that certainly his Kibud Aim was very
Mhm.
strong, and that
Yeah.
he was willing to sacrifice a lot for his father, even though he
Mhm.
knew his father was in the wrong.
Mhm.
So this is the last time in this chapter, in the rest of Shmuel, where we see the two of them
Mhm.
together. Yonatan and David. Okay. So let's continue. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. And now, I think we're on 20, right?
Yeah.
I think so. And now, according to all the desires of your heart to come down, and it is incumbent upon him. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yeah, to deliver him into the king's hand. And Shaul said, "Blessed shall you be to the Lord, for you have taken pity upon me. Go now, prepare yet, and know and see his place where his foot will be, who saw him there. For one told me that he deals cunningly. And see and know of all the hiding places where he hides. And you shall return to me with the certainty, and I shall go with you. And it shall be that if he is in the land, I shall search him out among the thousands of Judah." And they arose and went to Ziph before Shaul, and David and his men were in the desert of Maon, in the plain plain which is the south of the desolate wasteland. And Shaul and his men went to search, and they told David, and he went down to the rock and stayed in the desert of Maon. And Shaul heard and pursued David in the desert of Maon. And Shaul went from this side of the mountain, and David and his men were on that side of the mountain. And David was hastening to get away from before Shaul, but Shaul and his men were encircling to David and his men to seize them. And a messenger came to Shaul, saying, "Make haste and go, for the Philistines have spread out over the land." And Shaul returning from pursuing David, and he went toward the Philistines. Therefore they called that place the place of the divisions.
Okay.
So there's a diversion there, right? I mean, there's a big diversion when the Philistines have come. It made him change course.
Right, exactly. So, so quickly, what has happened in the last part of this chapter is that Shaul says to everybody, "Okay, are you with me? Are you against me? We have a big job to go and find David, and we're going to go down south. We're going to go here. We're going to go there." He's all over the map, literally all over the map. And the people who are with him support him, and they go down south, and they are looking for David. They know that he's an elusive character, but what they do is David is on one side of the mountain in the desert, and Shaul is on the other side of the mountain. Shaul is encircling where David is encamped, and he gets a message from one of his servants that the Plish team are are invading the nation. And this is the first time we hear of a rational decision made by Shaul.
Right.
For some reason, he changes course and he goes back to fight the Plish team. He makes that decision and he goes home and does what a king is supposed to do for his country: protect the country, protect the people. And this was an opportunity because, as we will see in the next chapter, he was this close to David, and we will see how that plays out in the coming few chapters in terms of the chase continuing. um, I'll tell you, this could be an amazing movie, because it really, a king chasing his head of the army, and the places that they go, and the battles that they go in, and what they do, and how they see this playing out, and the sun, and this would be an amazing plot for a story. I'm telling you. But it's very, very interesting to see how um, this
Harrison Ford could play David. It makes me think of all his pictures.
well, Harrison Ford isn't a gingy, and David was a gingy. So, anyway, this is an incredible story. It's like a mouse cat and mouse story, chasing one another, running after each other, and missing each other by a day, by a few moments, and um, there's something to be learned about from all of this, and hopefully we will get some insights very soon as to what is playing out here. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a lovely rest of the week and eventually a Shabbat Shalom. And we will meet next week and we'll learn more of what is going on as we come to some conclusions with this story. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you,
And-
Rhonda.
Thank you very much. Great
Yeah.
class.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. Terrific.